right, I am Jamie Chu, and this is CTN at the 2023 Art Fair. I'm here with Chaz Girding. So Chaz, tell us about your medium and how you kind of came to settle on this.
My medium is bronze sculpture, and it was totally an accidental thing. I'm a science major, and the last class I took before I graduated from grad school, I took one sculpture class, and here I am. Took the fork in the road.
Amazing. And how long would you say it took for you to hone these skills and kind of perfect the things that you work on these days?
It was pretty quick. It's just, I like working with my hands, and I like the challenge of making things, in detail. So it was like a real easy transition for me.
And what is your favorite subject to kind of cover? So I'm seeing a lot of hands. Do you want to tell us about that?
Hands, I really love hands because they're so expressive. People basically talk with their hands a lot. And they're fascinating. It's just like, how you can control the movement without even thinking about it. So I love hands and, the way they express. And then I like figurative forms.
Absolutely. And can you walk us through the process of maybe creating one of these pieces from start to finish?
Sure. You start off in wax, and you make the piece in wax, and that's where all the detail is in the piece, is in the wax. It's carved in the wax. Mm-hmm. And then from the wax, you put the piece on a cup that's wax with little wax sprues. Then you build a ceramic mold around the piece, which takes a couple days to do. There's 2 furnaces involved in the process. One, you melt your bronze to 2150 degrees. The other furnace, you flash the wax out of the mold, and then you bring the molds out, turn them upside down so the cup is up, pour the bronze in the cup. When it cools, you take a hammer and smash it open, and then start the finish work on the piece, which takes just as much time finishing the piece as it does to make the piece originally. Yeah.
And what does the finishing process look like for you?
The finish is you sandblast the metal down to raw metal, and then you put patinas on, which are basically chemicals mixed with water. Most of them go on hot with a torch, and you just keep brushing it on, brushing it on, and you finally get the color. You basically chase the color around the piece, and then seal the piece.
What would you say is the most challenging part of that process?
Probably making the original piece, because I just see in my mind what I want to make, and as you make the piece, it evolves a little bit. It might change a little bit. So that's usually the most challenging part.
Yeah. So do you draft it on paper first, or do you just grab the wax and start carving?
It's a picture in my mind. I just grab the wax and start carving.
Beautiful. We love it. So how long have you been exhibiting at the Ann Arbor Art Fair?
47 years.
Okay, we have an OG here. All right, and what has that been like through the years? How have you seen the art fair change, and how has your participation changed, if it has at all?
It's like, the first probably 40 years was like always just packed with people. It is not that way anymore at all. It was like you'd have to move through the crowd as they pushed you through the show on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Yeah. And it's just not that way anymore. It's like a lot fewer people come to the show.
And what would you say is like your average day as somebody who's holding a booth at the art fair? What does that kind of look like for you?
The average day? Yeah. I don't know. What do you exactly mean by average
Like
day?
How many people come through, what you're kind of displaying here, if you're selling a lot of pieces, what that kind of looks like for you.
Okay. Average day is just basically I talk to a lot of people, yeah. And I can only talk to like maybe a couple at a time, yeah, and other people have to wait. Mm-hmm. It's not so hectic now like it used to be. Like if I got an order, then there'd all of a sudden be 3 or 4 people want to order at the same time, and that's usual. So it's kind of the same thing, no matter if it's like the beginning that back 47 years ago, right, or now. Deal with the customers, and I try to inform them how pieces are made so they understand the amount of time it takes to make something. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, are these solid pieces or are they hollow on the inside?
Most are hollow. You want to keep your bronze about this thick. And so they're all hollow. Even the big statues you see out in parks and stuff, they're only about a 1/4 inch thick. Yeah, maybe a little bit thicker.
And how about the longevity of these pieces? What does that look like?
Lasts as long as the world's turning. Because it's bronze, it doesn't rust, right, it doesn't change, it will always be here.
Right. It was a Bronze Age for a reason, right?
Yeah. The bronze, they pull them out of the ocean like, 3,000 years ago they were made, and they're still just pristine. Yeah, so.
Beautiful. Long-lasting, beautiful work. Well, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the interview, and have a great day.
You as well.
Thank you.
For 20 years, the Bryant Community Center has enhanced the quality of life in Ann Arbor. The facility is owned by the City of Ann Arbor's Parks Department and operated by Community Action Network, CAN, allowing the city to share its space, and in return, CAN provides community support. CAN partners with children, youth, and families from under-resourced Washtenaw County neighborhoods to create better futures for themselves and improve the communities in which they live. The Bryant Community Center hosts a food pantry, academic achievement, and life skill enrichment programs, in addition to a variety of other services for eligible families. The site is available for receptions, special events, and meetings. For more, visit a2gov.org/parks. The Ann Arbor Bikeway is a two-way separated bike lane network in the downtown. Separated bike lanes provide cyclists with their own travel lane, separated from vehicular traffic, that uses concrete curb islands and delineators to provide this separation. We will share some important safety information for using the bikeway. Cyclists must come to a complete stop at intersections with stop signs. Cyclists must stop, look both ways or always for traffic, and proceed in the order of arrival. At a four-way stop, the person to the right goes first. And always be aware of pedestrians and crosswalks. They have the right-of-way. At most signalized intersections, cyclists follow the pedestrian signal. Stop when the signal indicates don't walk. Go when the walk symbol is displayed, and proceed with caution when blinking. Be extra cautious of vehicles turning. Your safety is the top priority, even when you have the right-of-way. Where the bikeway crosses Huron Street, cyclists follow the bike signal. Stop when the signal indicates a red bike, and proceed with caution when the bike symbol is yellow. Two-stage turn boxes are another element you will find at signalized intersections. These boxes provide a safe location for cyclists to wait before turning and crossing the street. There are two steps to using the turn box. Step 1. When the pedestrian signal displays the walk symbol, proceed to the turn box and position your bike in the direction you want to proceed. Step 2. Proceed through the intersection when the walk symbol is displayed. You will also notice green stripes on the pavement in many locations along the bikeway. These markings indicate a conflict zone, typically a driveway entrance. This will alert people in cars and on bikes to watch for other users. Use extra caution when you see these green markings. Whether you are an experienced cyclist, new to biking, or a family with young children, the Ann Arbor Bikeway provides a safe and comfortable place to ride for people of all ages and abilities.
Hi, I'm Brian Steglitz, Manager of Water Treatment Services for the City of Ann Arbor. I'm excited to talk to you today about Ann Arbor Water, the city's new brand for its water utilities. As many of you know, the city provides 3 water utilities: drinking water, stormwater management, and resource recovery or wastewater to its customers. This new brand allows us to combine these 3 utilities under a single umbrella, which will allow us to communicate to our customers about how these 3 water services are connected through a single resource, being the Huron River. If you're interested in learning more about our utilities, please come find us on the web at annarborwater.org.
Congratulations to CTN on its 50th year anniversary. I'm Brigitte Maassen, host of Senior Moments. Senior Moments has provided Ann Arbor seniors valuable information of health, wealth, finance, and entertainment. The show has been running for 22 years. In other words, it has been covering almost half of CTN's entire history. For these 2 decades, a number of wonderful guests have been introduced to our brilliant hosts with fun and excitement. CTN will surely continue its service for the next decade and more. As long as CTN continues, Senior Moments also will continue to serve seniors with pride and joy.
Hello, this is Jamie Chu, and this is CTN at the Art Fair 2023. I am here with Stephen Wheeler. He has some beautiful paintings here. Can you tell us a little bit about your medium and your process?
So everything on the wall is original hand-painted art. I do have reproductions here for sale also. Mostly I work oil on canvas. Very traditional techniques, and it's mostly wet into wet, which means that it'll take 3 to 8 days for the paint that I put down to dry. So it's and some of the paintings take only a day or two, okay. And some, like the lionfish behind me, take over 100 hours of brush on canvas work.
Okay. So where do you take your inspiration from? I'm seeing a lot of like fantasy, surrealism. It's giving Dali a little bit. Like, what is the inspiration?
I call it whimsical realism. Okay. So there's definitely a sense of fun and joy in everything that I do. I would say that every piece starts with sort of a daydream.
Okay.
2 things that don't fit together, I let them collide, and when I put it in a realistic world, then your imagination has to work very hard to fill that gap and see how can these lionfish and these lion or these dancing flamingos, how does that fit together? I certainly also draw inspiration from nature, from visual and personal experiences I've had, and from specific artists that I admire. So.
And what would you say is your favorite piece in here or most labor intensive, and can you walk us through the process of creating that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just because it's on camera and it's my biggest piece as a draw, I'll start with this one. This piece started back in the summer, like August of last year is when I initially had the idea and started doing sketches. And I know probably can't see all of these, but I do have some of my first drawings of this.
Oh, wow.
I draw. These are not drawings, these are color notes. These are notes, so I have written about it, and I make these little drawings that are not fit for first grade, you know. I finally get a composition, and then I did 2 small studies that were horizontal, and then this was kind of my final pass at making the composition have the breadth and expression, you know, that I was looking for. You can see this little colored pencil work. And that combination of that and all the study and drawing that had gone into it prepared me to go to the final painting. And as I said, that was between 120 and 140 hours. I don't, you know, keep it precisely.
Yeah, fair. So what would you say is the most challenging part of creating something like this? The scale, the size, kind of scaling it up, different drafts?
The part that takes years to develop is the ability to hold a mental image in your mind with a degree of vividness that you can actually close your eyes and walk around something. It's like a muscle. It's like learning to sculpt, but with your mind, you know. That's visualizing something in actual 3 dimensions is that's the longest developing mental skill.
Wow.
And then I think being committed to knowing that every brushstroke matters because this is how you communicate. It has to be satisfying from 100 feet away. It has to be satisfying from 6 inches, that you have considered and been intentional about every moment of the surface. And that's where just the time comes in, because you have this spark, this idea that comes in 1 second. And once you've decided to commit to it, it might be 30 or 50 or 80 or 100 hours to realize it.
So how long did it take for you to kind of commit to this medium, develop these skills, hone them to a place where you're comfortable kind of displaying your work and selling it?
I started drawing every day when I was 13. I'm 29 now, so I've been working consistently as a creative for 16 years. It was a very, very long journey, and I would say that I was very uncomfortable showing my work that I was most proud of, and I'm not a shy person, but I was very shy about my artwork because there's an element of absurdity to making really whimsical, weird work. And it's personal. I mean, some of the pieces in here are very personal. Some of them are more just fun and engaging on a lighter level. But yeah, I mean, I graduated from college in 2017, and I have been showing at art fairs and other venues since 2019, really, is when but I was full-time from the beginning. I was just doing commissions and other work. And at a certain point, you realize that if you want to be an artist, you have to give gifts to other people, which requires leaving the studio and talking to people and displaying it. And so if you don't have a salesman's bone in your body, or a business bone, or a generous bone in your body, then you got to go get one, or you can't be an artist, because it's not an option to just create for most of us.
Right. There's the distribution of it. There's people needing to see it to even know about it.
It's a privilege to do what I do, and it's genuinely a collaboration between me and you and anybody else who comes into the booth and allows my work to go on.
Love that. So in terms of like art fair circuits, what would you say is unique about Ann Arbor's art fair specifically?
The size is very unique. Most of the shows that I do have as little as 150 up to, on the high end, maybe 400 booths. But if you consider the three shows together, the Guild, State Street, and the original art fair, I don't know the exact number, but I think it's between 800 and 900 booths, not to mention a few add-on booths and corporate booths that probably come close to 1,000. So it's an overwhelming large amount of art. And the crowd, the enthusiasm. Most of the time, Fridays are quiet. Thursday was far busier than any Friday I've ever been to, and this Friday is just an amazing, so it's an extremely supportive community of the fair. So that's unique. Usually you have to wait till Saturday to get a real crowd. So.
That's fair. And how would you say transporting your work here feels? I know you have really large-scale pieces. It's delicate because it's hand-painted. I
joke that I like to paint, but my passion is setting up my booth, tearing it down, and schlepping everything in and out. So it's challenging. I have my own custom-built carts that allow me to move. So I actually parked a block away, so I didn't have to deal with the parking. It takes a few hours. I sell a lot of prints, so keeping that inventory straight. I mean, I'm an artist at home. Here I'm a salesman and a stock clerk. So it takes some time to.
All positions of the business.
Exactly.
All right. Is there anything about technique or anything else about art fair life that I missed that you might want to comment on?
Well, if anybody is a creative person and is scared to show their work, I would just recommend that they do it. And that if you get out and show your work, you'll grow in ways that you can never grow in isolation. So that's all I've got. And if you haven't been to an art fair, it is the most special place that you can possibly view art. You get to meet the artists, you get to see the art in a much more intimate way than you ever can at a museum or a gallery. So it is the best place to see art, and it's one of the best places to show art in the world. So
that was Stephen Wheeler, y'all. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Since October 2015, Ann Arbor Inclusive has been produced by CTN and the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues. The show has featured numerous guests with or without disabilities to discuss issues such as health, politics, and wellness. Thank you, CTN, for your service in providing Ann Arbor residents with the wonderful opportunity to create television programs. Congratulations to CTN on its 50th year anniversary.
CTN Sports, bringing local sports to you.
Hello, I am Jelani, and this is CTN at the 2023 Art Fair. I'm here with Michael Terra, and we're surrounded by some very interesting and amazing artwork. Can you tell me a little bit about your inspiration, some of the processes that you go through?
Absolutely. So I'm a poet and a painter, and because both of those things are so enormously lucrative, I combine them to double my chances.
Yeah. Right.
But so this is all original authorship as well as original painting. And most of when you talk about inspiration, most of my inspiration is you. And you talking to your dad or to your best friend or to your children. I find that if I keep my own mouth shut and I listen more, I keep hearing the same truths between mothers and daughters, between brothers and sisters. And if I focus on that, then what I write has to do with stories we have in common, stories we all share, as opposed to my telling you about my bagel I had this morning. No one cares about that. So, and I used to be a large format oil painter, but this is, I think, the 21st century. So I've actually started using a tablet to do these paintings. So, but I'm old school. So I don't generate anything. I start with a blank page, and I try and paint the way I've painted for 50 years using this digital technology. So when you look at the artwork, you'll actually see brush strokes in there. And you'll see sketch lines and things like that. But then I can overlay it with these crisp graphics that have the poem in there.
Hello, I'm Jelani, and this is CTN at the Art Fair, and I'm here with Claire. She is helping out. She's a staff at the Ann Arbor Art Fair. So what are some of the things you have to do to make sure people are happy here, vendors, supporters? What are you doing?
So we are basically focused on making sure the artists have a great experience, making sure they have lots of hydration and food, and we have an artist hospitality tent, so making sure that's stocked, and then making sure our info booth is staffed as well so people can figure out where they're going.
Very nice, very nice. So part of artist hospitality, you have to feed them, you have to hydrate them. Yesterday was pretty hot.
Yes, it was.
How many water bottles do you think you went through?
That's a great question. I mean, we just went through like 2 cases maybe in the past 30 minutes. So I think we're getting into the hundreds, yeah.
Oh my God, okay, good. And I imagine certain artists have dietary restrictions. So you have, what kind of options do you have between like vegan, maybe even halal? Like what type of options do you have?
We're big on the snacks, so we did a big Amazon haul of different types of snacks, and we're starting every morning with donuts. Today we have cinnamon rolls, which I think are vegan actually, so there's lots of options for everyone.
Very nice, very nice. What kind of questions do you hear often with the information booth? I mean, I imagine directions, I'm imagining what type of restaurants are around. What type of questions are you hearing?
So this year we switched to having our artist list online, so that's been a big question. How can I figure out where my favorite artist is? And mostly just people are wondering where they are right now. It's easy to get turned around, so.
Very true, very true, very true. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, this is CTN at the 2023 Art Fair, and I'm here with Walt and Vanessa Richardson. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing great.
Doing good.
Excellent, excellent. Can Can you tell me a little bit about your experience at the art fair? What you like, what you don't like?
What happens with my experience, when I was younger in elementary, I didn't like school that much, but I could draw. So they would take me out of class whenever there was a holiday, and I would draw. As I got older, I knew I had the ability, but I never really appreciated it. Everybody would say how good a drawer I was, but I said, well, I could do it. So my older sister took me to the first art fair. It was no longer than a half a block at that time. Now it's 30 blocks. It's grown quite a bit. But being that I do art and I do pottery, I like to come and see how much I have to learn, because the people here are really talented.
Very talented, yeah.
Everybody say how talented I am. It don't match up to theirs. And so they just said, well, keep on going at it, keep working at it. And, it's something for me to do, it being that I'm retired now. I end up getting a job with the university and worked here for 32 years. So being on the campus and the art fair was here, other than the rain store every year, I would go through and I would look and, see what's going on. But it's growing just unbelievable.
Yeah. And now I enjoy just walking around. I love looking at the people and the scenery, and it's just a nice place to be.
A people person.
Yeah. I like people, like being around people, so I enjoy this. Yeah.
It's nice, and a beautiful day today, too.
Yes.
We came over yesterday and missed the rain, but we thought we'd come back today and start at a different location that we normally go on. And it's amazing no matter which way you go.
A lot of people.
Yeah, everybody said, you should get a booth, but I don't think so. No, it's going to be a long time before that happens.
I hope to see a booth soon. I'll definitely come by and support. That'll be amazing.
Oh, so you're saying you're going to buy something?
Well, let me get my coins right first. Then I'll buy something. I don't know what your prices are.
Well, hey, I'll take half off for you. Buy one, get one free.
Okay, yes, I'll make sure I'll get something. That works.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Walt and Vanessa. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.